Hi, good morning. I am Jeff French, Barron County Administrator, and the purpose of this video is to review the 2025 WCA Green Book. This is a very very important or good informational document that comes from the Wisconsin Counties Association through Forward Analytics. So the purpose of this video is to be informational and to talk about Barron County in a whole host of ways. So this is going to be unscripted. I'm not a professional presenter, just county administrator. I hope that you'll enjoy this as much as I enjoy analyzing it and talking about what goes on in Barron County. There are some very good things that we're good at, and there's other things we're maybe not so good at, but we're going to tell the truth here, go through it. You can draw all kinds of conclusions from this data. I'll try to hit the high points. So let's begin at the beginning. There are 72 counties in the state of Wisconsin. They are drawn by the legislature and are specified in state law. By the state constitution, we are the administrative arm of the state of Wisconsin. Barron County is unique in that we are a non-geographic boundaried county. We are exactly square by surveyor marking. There's no river that marks or ends our boundaries, so we're unique in that area. So let's dig in. County boards are large in Wisconsin. They vary from small ones like Menominee County has 7 to Oconto County has 31. Barron County has 29 county board members in specific districts. There are 3 types of administrative government for counties in Wisconsin. County executive, which is like a governor. County administrator, which is appointed by the county board, serves at the pleasure of the county board based on education and experience. And then a coordinator who typically their role is specified in their contract. And each county has the option to choose the form of governance that they want. The Green Book begins with population, and it begins with population change. And that's the first spreadsheet that I have up here is population change. And we're just going to talk through all of these different attributes in the same order. I've lined up this presentation in the same order as this Green Book. So our population change depends on several factors, births, deaths, and so on. So you can see here by what I've highlighted that, our population change is not as large as the rest of the state. Compared to the state average, we're 1.67 below state median, negative 0.07%, and our surrounding counties, our population change is less than theirs. What I wanted to highlight is St. Croix County. You can see their population growth from 2019 to 2024 over a 5-year period, pretty substantial. It makes sense because of people moving out of the Twin Cities. Sawyer, same way. Burnett, again, people leaving the cities. Rusk, a negative 5.1%, so actually a decrease in their population. Then it gets into more specifics. We start talking about this is people, percentage of the population age 25 to 64. We're actually went down. We've just decreased a negative 0.90%. And when you look at comparing ourselves against the state average, state median, or surrounding counties, we are slightly below these averages, meaning people ages, as we know, in rural counties in Wisconsin, northwestern Wisconsin, often the kids graduate from high school and leave, and our percent of population has decreased 25 to 64. I have done these presentations in the past, and what I've talked about is we're one of the fastest aging counties. And when you look back at 2018 data, 21.90% of the people that lived in Barron County were age 65 or older. That has since went to 24.10%, or roughly 25% of all the people 1 out of 4, 25% of the people living in Barron County are age 65 or older. What we look at now here is the state average. We're 5% above the state average, 2.4% above the state median, but we're less than our surrounding counties. I mean, for example, I've highlighted Burnett County. 32.90% of their people are age 65 or older. So we're a graying society. You know the statistics, we're a graying society in Wisconsin north of Highway 10. Finally, we get to the last population demographic of just general population, and you look at the fact that our population of people aged 5 to 19 has went down. So compared to the state average, we're 0.70%, state median 0.10% negative, but we are higher than our surrounding counties, slightly higher. So we're having a few more school-age children. The next demographic is the number of veterans. Barron County has typically been high in the veteran population, but when you look at around across northwestern Wisconsin, we are higher. 9.10% of the people living in Barron County are veterans, compared with 10.9% in Washburn, 11.3% in Burnett, and 10% in Rusk. So we are slightly behind our surrounding counties as far as number of veterans that live in Barron County. Population with associate degrees. Well, we have good news. You can see that we went up 4.10% from the base year of 2018 data, which is a good thing. You will notice, based on the 2025 reporting or 2023 data, we're still 6.5% below the state average, but we're right on the state median. We are below our surrounding counties as far as surrounding counties that have degrees. So other counties, more people have associate degrees. But what I do think this speaks to is, I think we should talk about this, is the good work that Northwoods Technical College is doing in our area. They are getting more people educated with AA degrees over a period of time. And our percentage has increased more than the other counties. And that's, I'm going to highlight this, that's highlighted in these columns. So this is a good thing. And we're going to see that when we look at earnings per capita in a few spreadsheets. Now, total expenses per capita. This is very important. The fewer people that you have, the more cost per person. So you look at this, Barron County, 2023 data, spent $1,288 per person. Our surrounding counties, excluding Barron County, spent $1,786. When you include Barron County, it drops to $1,731. So we actually bring down the spending per capita in Northwest Wisconsin. I'm going to go over here and highlight, because our $1,288 per capita per expenditure is $75 above the state average, $23 below the median average of the state. But look at, we are substantially less than our surrounding counties. Okay. Now, one of the things we're going to see is our debt payment per capita is less. We'll see that in just a minute or two. Our highway expenses, we are substantially less than our surrounding counties. Now this would be highway expenditures per capita. We spend $133 per person. Now that's obviously went up from $69 in 2018, but let's keep in mind, we've built a new shop. I believe that the $465 from 2022 was an anomaly based on some construction costs that were going in there. You can see we've gotten at $133 per capita, we've gotten to a more historically accurate amount, but we are $29 above the state average, $27 below the state median, $132 per person less. Excuse me, I had to update my Google Meets here. Apologize for that. So let's reiterate these numbers. We are $29 above the state average, $27 below the state median, $132 less than our surrounding counties. And when you exclude Barron County, we bring it down even more. So what this says is our highway department continues to be quite efficient. So that's very interesting statistic about the efficiency of our highway department. And you'll see that that's also going to be said of some other departments, the efficiency in which they operate. Now, Health and Human Services per capita. We spend $518 per capita per person on Health and Human Services. But please understand, one of the reasons for that is we have a faster aging population. Now, we're going to see in another spreadsheet, we also collect more revenue in state aids. And I believe that they correlate. Yes, we have more expenditures for Health and Human Services, but we correlate that expenditure with more revenue from the state. So we do need to be honest. We're at $518 per person. We're $125 above the state average, $98 above the state median, and we're above our surrounding counties. But again, we have a faster aging state population in the state, and we're definitely close to the other surrounding counties as far as people age 65 or older. When I look at the Health and Human Services costs, I want to read something. Health and Human Services, this is the largest expenditure category for counties. So you see, taking care of people can get expensive. And I believe, I don't have the exact numbers, but I believe that this also would include, for example, aging ADRC. The next spreadsheet then talks about state aid per capita. And state aid per capita averaged $297 per person. Generally, per capita aids were highest in the Northwest and lowest in the Southeast. And we're going to prove this out. We were receiving $415 of state aid per person in Barron County. We're $118 above the state average, $69 above the state median. But we're bringing in less than our surrounding counties. We're at $426 and $425, or $1 less when putting in Barron. And you'll see here, Rusk was the highest at $681 of state aid per capita. But also remember, Rusk is a smaller county. You spread that state aid over less people. All of these connect. When we're elderly, we have more options for Meals on Wheels, congregate meals. All those things factor in to cost per expenditure. But it also is important to analyze, we're also bringing in state revenue to keep our elderly people in their homes. Remember, it's always more cost effective to keep a person in their home than it is to put them in a nursing home. Property tax levy per capita. Well, I have some good news. We're 400. This is the tax levy levied in 2024, payable in 25. So this is 2024 data. Please disregard this. This is not an accurate statement. I want to check this. So this does say levied in 2024, payable in 2025. So this is 2024 data. So our property tax levy per capita is $485. We're $58 above the state median of $427. We're $47 less than, we're $58 above the state average, $47 below the state median. We're $119 less than our surrounding counties, excluding Barron, and including Barron, we bring it down to 106. So that means that in Northwest Wisconsin, our property tax levy per capita, we bring the Northwest average down. I've highlighted a couple things here because it's interesting to point out that costs per capita from the base year of 2020 have went up 2.75%. The only nearest county that's done the same that well is Washburn County at 2.49%. So over this time frame, we've dropped this a 6.73% from the base year over the state average. So what this says is Barron County continues to be relatively frugal compared with Northwest Wisconsin. And I want to make it clear here, I am not criticizing these other counties. I am presenting information. There may be very good reasons why there's per capita expenditure increases in these other counties. Probably very good and valid reasons. Our mill rate. Our mill rate was $3.25. This is property tax rate per thousand. We're only 30 mills, 0.30 mills above the state average. We're 44 mills below the state median. We're 6 mills above our surrounding county, whether we include Barron County or not. Now, from the base year of $4.99, our millage has dropped $1.74 or 34.87%. So we've dropped 60 mills from the base year of 2020 compared to the state average. So this also correlates to the fact of the increase in equalized valuation, which is not shown in this analysis. I will say that in the last 2 years, the equalized valuation of Barron County has went up approximately 21% in 2 years. We now get into sales tax per capita. And you will see that Barron's sales tax per capita actually went up. Now, this is easily explainable by the fact that you see an influx of people leaving Minneapolis, St. Paul. So their sales tax collections in other Northwest Wisconsin counties, sales tax collection per capita is going down because there's more people. And we talked about that. So it was $100. It's now $135. So we're $25 above the state average of 100, and state average is 115. So we're $25 above that. I'm sorry, that's an incorrect calculation. That's 20. So we'll leave this alone. This spreadsheet is not completely accurate. When we look at the base year, we've been up $35 or 35%. Now, this could be a couple of factors why this has went up. One could be because prices have increased. Also, it could be, and we're going to get into this, our net in commuting, people coming here to work has went down. So when there are less people here working, you don't have as many people to spread the sales tax over. Now, we look at geo debt per capita. Barron County is at $491 of general obligation debt per capita. That compares with a state average of $448. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience with me. I restarted this video because my sales tax per capita calculations were incorrect. So I'm going to review those with you again. Barron County is at $135 of sales tax collections per capita. Now, we're $20 above the state average, $23 above the median, 15 above the surrounding counties, excluding Barron County, and 13 including. Now, going back to this base year, which I've highlighted, we have slipped a little bit, but we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about net in commuting down the way a little bit. There are less people net in commuting into Barron County than there was in 2020. I can't explain that other than perhaps it's work from home. I don't have that statistics. They're not covered in this book, in the Green Book. General obligation debt per capita. This is an important calculation. We're at $491. The state average is $539. The state median is $448. Our surrounding counties are at $743 and $715. So We're $48 below the state average, $43 above the median, but our general obligation compared to the other counties in Northwest Wisconsin is substantially less. Again, as I've pointed out in the past, this presentation is not a criticism of other counties. It's an analysis, it's an informational analysis of what Barron County does. Our per capita personal income. This is actually some good news. We've increased 22.52% from the base year of $49,431. Now, we do lag $4,412 per annum below the state average of $64,976, but we're above the state median and we're above the surrounding counties. Now, ours has went up 22.52%. You'll see that St. Croix counties has increased 26.67% over the same time frame. So I believe this speaks directly to the number of people that are getting an AA degree. As people have more education, they're going to earn a higher salary. The next spreadsheet is our 5-year job growth. And it hasn't been real good. Job growth. Let me just read a section out of the Green Book. During 2019 to 2024, the number of Wisconsin job increases increased 1.9%, despite significant job losses in 2020 due to the pandemic. Indeed, by 2024, 62 of 72 counties had exceeded their pre-pandemic levels. Listen to this. There was no clear pattern of job gains and losses. The strongest job growth was in Lafayette, Calumet, Kenosha, Burnett, and Pepin counties. On the other hand, Jackson, Trempealeau, Lincoln, and Pierce counties all saw the number of job declines by more than 8%. So our job decline of 2.4% compared to the counties I just mentioned is good. There's a lot of numbers here. And I just think when you look at the job growth has been in St. Croix and Chippewa, makes sense what's going on there. Rusk, a negative job growth, kind of corresponds to population and some other things. Unemployment rate. Our unemployment rate has creeped up just slightly from 3.3% from the 2022 reporting period in 2 years to 3.6%, up just slightly over that same time frame. Now, we're 0.6% above the state average, 0.4% above the state median, and we are above the average with our surrounding counties is 3.8% and 3.78. So we are below them. Net in commuting. Now, we actually had a positive morning. More people were coming net in commuting a few years ago. And I want to read what net in commuting is. Here, net commuting is measured as the number of commuters into a county minus the number commuting out as a percentage of the total county workforce. A positive figure indicates the county attracts more workers than the number leaving. A negative number indicates the converse. So we had a positive number in 2018. We've went to a negative number. So we're double digits bad over the base year. Now, St. Croix obviously has people going into the cities. So that's important to understand. And what's important here is the state average is a negative 1% going out. We have a negative 9.6 out commuting, a negative 9.6 in commuting, which means people are out going out. So we're worse than the state average, but we're better than the surrounding counties, what I've just highlighted here in this spreadsheet. Next is the poverty index. Now, the poverty index is, and let me read this so we get understanding. Counties with higher poverty rates often have increased demand for certain tax-funded public services. The 2023 poverty level for a family of 4 was set by the federal government at $30,000. Families with incomes at or below that level are considered in poverty. The poverty rate average was 10.6% for the state. So state average is 10.6%. We were at 10, so we're below the poverty rate. The average was 10.5, so we're 0.50 above that. And The surrounding counties were at 10.96. We actually bring the poverty rate down by 0.10%. It goes from 10.96 to 10.86. We now get over into equalized valuations of homes. This is equalized valuation per capita. The per capita of an equalized value of property in Barron County was $154,205. Equalized values are state estimates of the current market value of all taxable property in an area, in this case, a county. Values per capita tend to be higher in counties with more businesses and in those with more vacation property owned by non-residents. Well, let's stop right there. You can see Sawyer, Washburn, Burnett, residents you have lake property, their values are substantially higher. State values averaged $151,507 per capita in 2024, a 7% increase. 7% increase in 1 year. As I said before, over a 2-year period, the equalized valuation of Barron County has went up almost 21%. So our equalized value at $154,205 is $2,698 above the state average, $115,292 above the state median, but we're below our surrounding counties. And when you look at this, we actually pull it down. So our equalized valuation per capita actually pulls down the surrounding counties. Net new construction. This is based on revenue source. You can see the various years what net new construction has been. It's interesting to point out net new construction for 2024 activity during 2023 averaged 1.6% statewide, down slightly from the prior year. There was a wide divergence in this measure. In 11 counties, net new construction was less than 1%. In 11 counties, it was above 2%. So it was 1.6. We're at Barron's at 1.55. So the state average was 1.62. So we were below the state average, above the state median, and we were above our surrounding counties. So it means that there is more net new construction in Barron County than our surrounding counties. House prices. House prices, 269. The median house price was $269,900 in 2024, from $238,700 in 2022, went up 13%. Now, I point out specifically here, Rusk County, where the price of a home rose almost 21%. So the state average price of a median house was $310,000. So we're $60,000 below that, $15,000 below the median, and our median is below the surrounding counties because obviously their equalized valuation was higher over here. That translates to house prices here. Very interesting. Affordable Living Index. And I want to read this because I want to read it word for word out of the Green Book. An index above 100 indicates houses are relatively affordable. An index below indicates they are unaffordable. So an index above, they are relatively affordable. Well, we've dropped in affordability. We've dropped in affordability over this time frame, okay? But notice how house prices have increased over time frame. So that one could make the argument there is correlation there. Highway mileage, very little change. Population, very little change. And with that, we're complete. Again, I apologize that I had to stop at that one spreadsheet, but that was presenting inaccurate information. As I said at the beginning, this is not meant to be argumentative or to criticize anyone. It's meant to present what's going on in Barron County. If you watch this video and you're interested in receiving this spreadsheet, please let me know. I will certainly give it to you in the form of a PDF or in some other form. So I thank you for watching. Enjoy your day. Very, very pleased to be Barron County's administrator. Our motto is Barron County is a great place to visit and a better place to live. This is a wonderful place to raise and live a family. Thank you, everyone.